Hello and welcome to Motorland Aragon for the second race of this fifth round of the 2022 Spanish Formula 4 Championship. My name is Leo Gorman and it is wonderful to have you with us this weekend for this shortened race. It's been 18 minutes plus one lap, the designated sprint race as it were for the weekend. You see this relatively modern but well-worn circuit here in the northeast of Spain near Alcanez. We had the first race yesterday that was won not by championship leader Nicolas Solov, but actually Hugh Barter taking his second win of the season. Solov was there and very close right to the end. He took second place, and although that shrinks his championship lead slightly, he's still very much in command. A championship lead that was 114 points at the end of yesterday's race, now down to 112 with Barter on provisional pole for race 3. But that's then. This is now. And Solov did have confirmed another pole position. This is his 12th of the season for race 2. And he is going to be Barter lining up alongside him with Kirill Smal. Starting from third position. He started fourth yesterday, and it was a partial stall at the start by Timothy Skacharczyk from third on the grid, allowed Smal through. Smal did have a couple of efforts in that race to try and take Solov for second place. Ultimately, wasn't able to complete the move, but he still came home to register his third podium of the season, puts him fifth, truly clear in fifth in the championship, but only just behind George Kelstrup. He's 5 points adrift of George Kelstrup in the championship standings. And if all things go well, that could be fourth at the end of this, because Kelstrup is starting down 12th. He started 14th yesterday, did Kelstrup, ended up finishing 7th. So if Smal maintains that podium spot, he very well may jump Kelstrup for fourth in the standings, but we shall see. We still have a race to go yet. As you can see, it's quite a warm day. It's not quite as hot as it was yesterday. 26 degrees air temperature, so still fairly warm. As you see, the grid slowly but surely beginning to clear. That is Smal, the MP Motorsport racer, in his very dark red car. And before we go into this race, we do need to go through several changes that have come this weekend. Several team changes. Theo Martin Motorsport are not here at all this weekend. Unfortunately, one of their drivers, Lola Lovenfoss, she didn't have the budget to compete in this round. And hopefully we will see her soon. The other driver, David Nogales, has switched to DriveX. And so DriveX taking on another driver. Formerly the Campinos have dropped down to 2 drivers. No Aurelia Nobels this weekend, so they're running with just Max Meyer and Alvaro Garcia. Motorland Motorsport have taken on a third driver, Martin Stenshorn, that brings the team up to 3 entries. Stenshorn had a very good Spanish Formula 4 debut yesterday. He actually finished 6th. Good job for him. GRS Racing have taken on another driver called Daniel Mavlyatov. Now, they have dropped down to 2 entries this weekend. Mavlyatov will be racing alongside Ryabov. Ricardo Grazia has a clash in British Formula 4, while Marcus Flack is racing in the US. However, for the last 2 rounds, they will return, bringing GRS up to 4 cars. No Ethan Isher this weekend for Santalok Racing. He's been replaced by Theodore Jensen. Will be racing alongside T. O'Neill. And no Anshul Gandhi for Cram Pinnacle Motorsport. It'll just be Ricardo Escotto, while Noah Lyle rejoins the grid with British Formula 4 team JHR Developments. Now, the grid for this race as we go on our formation lap, starting from the back, is the new GRS racer, Daniel Mavlyatov. Here you have Miran Penkasov alongside him, the MP Motorsport entry. Theo Jensen starts 26th, with Maxim Arkanchelski getting away from 25th. I should say Pinkasov in 27th actually had a 3-place grid penalty following yesterday's race. Jeff Mackles starts 24th. He also had a 3-place grid penalty. Noah Lyle getting away from 23rd. Vladislav Ryabov starts 22nd. He also had a 3-place grid penalty. Lots of various incidents yesterday in yesterday's race. Alvaro Garcia for Formula de Campaños gets away from 21st. Gail Julian recorded. Gail Julian and Bruno De Pino recorded an all-Drive-X 10th row. Tisanopol Interpuvasak starts 18th. He also had another 3-place grid penalty, just behind Max Meyer 17th. Ricardo Escotto starts 16th for Cram Motorsport, with Sebastian Kravlund starting 15th for MP Motorsport. Daniel Nogales starts 14th in his Drive-X, just behind Theo Neal. While George Kelstrup, as I mentioned earlier on, gets away from 12th place from Campos Racing. Zulaiman Zanfari starts 11th. Valerio Rinacella goes away from 10th on the grid. He has a 3-place grid penalty. That's actually a hangover from Spa. Martinus Stenshorn, after his point scoring result yesterday, goes away from 9th. He started 8th yesterday. He'll be hoping for more of the same. Christian Ho qualifies 8th. He was 3rd in FP1 on Friday. He'll be hoping for more of the same in this race. Manuel Espirito Santo gets away from 7th, just behind Timotheus Kaczarczyk, currently 3rd in points. He was fastest in FP1 and 3rd in FP2, but he stalled yesterday, which cost him significantly. Robert De Haan, 5th on the grid from Monlau Motorsport, just behind Philippe Jenik in the Campos Racing entry, and 3rd on the grid, currently 5th in points. He was fastest in FP2 and podium in race 1 yesterday. Kirill Smal for MP Motorsport at 2 minutes 1.851. And as the drivers come out of the tight right-hand hairpin and go onto the start-finish straight, on the front row of the grid, the winner for race 1 yesterday, 2nd in points, was 2nd fastest in FP2 and has pole provisionally for race 3 later on today. It's Hugh Barter in the Campos Racing Machine at a 2 minutes 1.538, and on pole position for the 12th time this season, finished 2nd in race 1 yesterday. Championship leader by quite a significant margin, Nikola Solov. Campos Racing at 2 minutes 1.329. Solov, probably can't really see it there in the light, but Solov, the blue car on the left-hand side of your screen, now just slightly out of shot. The white car in front of your picture is Hugh Barter, the winner yesterday, and 2nd on the grid in the red machine on the left-hand side is number 23, Kirill Smal for MP Motorsport. And the final slots on the grid, the drivers are pulling in now. It is a long wait for those at the front. Solov had a bit of a sluggish getaway yesterday, and that may have caused him a slight bobble to allowing Hugh Barter to take the lead. But now we have the green flag. You're counting down, and the race is ready to go. And we are go. 18 minutes plus 1 lap. And we get away, and it is Solov leading this time around. Barter slots into 2nd place with Kirill Smal settling into 3rd. And I do believe that is Jenik still in 4th position. And Barter trying for the inside, and Solov, and they almost collected each other. Barter very aggressive early on, looking to take yet another win. Got a taste of it yesterday. And I do believe that's Espirito Santo may have gone off in the background there, but rejoined. And Solov just ahead of Barter. Kirill Smal hanging on. Smal had a very good race yesterday, but as it went on, and you see Espirito Santo well off the circuit, just behind Kaczarczyk, who's in 6th place. And I do believe that's Jensen at the very, very, very back of the field. Looks to have lost a little bit of time. Smal held his own in 3rd place yesterday, but really just began to drop pace as the race went on. Come through the chicane now on the back straight. You got Solov there with Barter. Smal, then Jenik, It's Robert De Haan in 5th place, and De Haan looks like he could make a move on Jenik as it just goes slightly out of picture. Sola very much with a solid lead there, but Small is going to be pressuring Barter coming into the hairpin. Does he have enough to make the move? He's on the outside. He's not going to make it through there. And Robert De Haan has got past Jenik for 4th position, but Small continues to pressurise Barter for 2nd place. He's got a run coming down the start-finish straight, and he pulls out to the outside line with Hugh Barter on the inside, and that may just give Barter enough to hold the position, and it does. Very determined defence there from Barter, but Kirill Small now going down the inside, but does he have enough of a run? And went over a bump, and that actually just drafted Small slightly wide for the exit of 3. Very, very feisty. This is a short race. Drivers don't have the opportunity to kind of wait to pressurise competitors. Pinkasov and Mavlyatov are in the pits, meanwhile. They may have had an incident on that first lap that we didn't see. But for Solo, this is working out quite nicely. The gap to Barter is over a second already, but Barter working hard to keep Small at bay. Kacharczyk, meanwhile, has also taken Jenik, so Kacharczyk up to 5th position. Stern showing up to 7th, Espirito Santo 8th. Rina Chalam 9th, Zanfari 10th. And that is Mavlyatov exiting the pit lane. Barter, I should say, 1.2 seconds behind Solov as they come down the back straight and into the hairpin. He's pulled away slightly from Kirill Small. That gap, 0.8 of a second. Small's not going to have the opportunity to take 2nd place this time around. He actually probably needs to worry a little bit more from Robert De Haan, who's just 0.4 behind him. Robert De Haan's actually been quite impressive this year at various points, really beginning to string some form together, and it would not surprise me if he does return for a 2nd season next year. It would not surprise me to see Robert De Haan challenging for greater honours. As we see Solov now going into lap 3, continues to lead this race. He has a bit of a significant gap to Barter, not huge, but enough to keep Barter at bay. Solov not having to race with his eyes in the window in any way, shape or form at this point. The fastest lap so far, 2 minutes 2.0 for Solo, 2 minutes 2.2 for Barter. We're still quite a way off the fastest laps from yesterday's race. But that will come soon. Another option for a lot of racers in race 2, as we see Espirito Santo and Sternshorn battling hard over 7th and 8th positions. I have to go through the screen now. Espirito Santo in the orange machine. Where's that Jenik? We see Barter. One thing I have noticed a lot, so you see Robert De Haan really beginning to pressurise Kirill Small. I've noticed a lot, Hugh Barter does really slide his car coming through the chicane. And you see that occur even more and more as the tyres begin to wear down. So I do wonder if Barter has chosen this race to run on slightly older tyres. There is a limitation on tyres throughout the weekend, and you do have to make a compromise that kind of folds into your strategy. One strategy here for Robert De Haan, 2nd car in the picture in the black car. He's going to be looking to overtake Kirill Small to get into 3rd position. He's not quite close enough yet, but he can position himself on the exit of this, but he goes on the inside anyway, and it's all wheels locked up, and they do collide, and they're both off. And that is a very, very damaged Motorland Motorsport machine. That's not going anywhere. You need to get off the circuit. And that brings Kacharczyk up to 3rd place, Jenik up to 4th. Small will be absolutely furious about that. If we're not going to see a safety car, I'd be surprised. I think we are going to see a safety car because De Haan is stranded But as soon as Dehaan committed, there was no escaping that. And he's absolutely out of control. Wheels locked up. He's on the grass over the curb and then slides into the side of Kirill Small, who will have absolutely no idea that was coming. Small has made it back to the pit lane. No safety car. We are still racing. It is a yellow flag at that corner. Barter, meanwhile, amidst all of this, has claimed the new fastest lap at 2 minutes 1.7, just 1/10 quicker than Solov. And the battle is on, 8 tenths between the pair, with Kacharczyk just behind them. Janik fourth, Sternshorn fifth, just behind them, with Espirito and someone going clean off. That was Rinicello, went clean off the circuit. I wonder if he was able to rejoin to prevent Zanfari and Ho, etc. getting through. We shall see in a moment's time. Yellow flags should still be out down at the end of this straight, so no overtaking here. Sternshorn is not quite close enough to Janik to even think of making a move for fourth place anyway. And we do have a safety car. We do have a safety car. And the race is now being neutralised, most likely to remove the damaged and inhibited car of Robert Dehaan you just saw on screen there in the final corner. And so the safety car is out, and with 9.5 minutes plus 1 lap remaining, we take a breather. Small, as I mentioned, did enter the pit lane. He's not returned to the track, so I do wonder if they're checking that car over for some significant damage. It did look that Dehaan went hard into the side, and I wonder maybe some side pod damage, possibly a collision with the suspension. It was an ambitious move. It was an ambitious move, but possibly not the cleverest one. I really don't think Robert Dehaan can have any complaints about a penalty coming his way, should there be one. And given the amount of penalties that were handed out after yesterday's race, that wouldn't necessarily be a significant surprise. So it was all building up quite nicely up until that moment. With Solov just maintaining a small but reasonable lead over Barter. And Barter having pulled away from the threat of Kirill Small. And Robert Dehaan was looking a little bit racy, but I don't think Small was anticipating that kind of lunge down the inside. But it was clear quite early on in that Dehaan was out of control and was not going to stop it. And the moment he got his wheels on the grass, it was all goodbye. And we saw yesterday, Solov, when he was in second place and chasing Barter, did a couple of times he made a move, or attempted to go for a move, and the end of the straight into that hairpin, and a couple of times was close to maybe making an error, but always pulled back from going a little bit too far. Unfortunately, not the case for Dehaan and Small, both of whom out of this race. And Small will be especially disappointed considering the scenario I mentioned at the beginning of the show. You know, he is currently 5th in points, only 5 behind George Kelstrup. And this, had he maintained third, Kelstrup, by the way, is down in 11th place at the moment and would not score with that. So Small finishing third would have actually jumped him up into into fourth in the standings. And actually, to be honest, not a million miles away from Kucharczyk and Barter either. Although, with the amount of points that Barter has been scoring of late, his form has been absolutely wonderful. 3 second-place finishes at Spa. Almost won a couple of those races too, until defeated by Barter. But he won yesterday. He's currently second place in this race, has pole for race 3 today. And while Barter had a little bit of a dip at the second round, or sorry, second round, the third round at Valencia, getting my rounds mixed up. Barter had a little bit of a dip at Valencia, Ricardo Tormo circuit. Since then, he's been absolutely on the money. Oh, the saddest sound in the world is the beep of the JVC going backwards. We should get this race going again shortly. In fact, the safety car is coming in this lap. And we should see Solov tighten the field up. Bring it close together with the safety car, draw away, pull into the pit lane. And we shall go for about 3.5 minutes plus 1 lap. You can see the field on the back end of the circuit now. Safety car out of the picture. Solov leading, weaving his Tatus car around, trying to get some warmth, some heat, some friction into those tires for the getaway. Barter right there doing the same. Kucharczyk up to third, can't believe his luck. Barter holding close to the rear of Solov. Solov slowing right down, and now he goes. And Solov sprinting away, hasn't completely shaken off Barter actually. But Kucharczyk's probably closer to Barter than Barter is to Solov. Solov continuing to weave, coming up the start-finish straight. And Barter not close enough to maybe get a run. Noah Lyle, meanwhile, has pitted. Now Alvaro Garcia was in the pits and has rejoined. That's at the back of the field, but meanwhile out front, it's Solov, it's Barter. Barter locks up. As Kucharczyk chasing, Kucharczyk and Barter in a battle for second in the standings right now. Barter pulled away from Kucharczyk significantly with yesterday's win. That's Sternshorn in 5th place, chasing the white and black machine of Filip Jenik for 4th. Just behind them is Espirito Santo, and then Rinacella in the orange MP machine in 7th position. And in 8th is Zulemans and Fari, 9th is Christian Ho, and Igales in 10th place. Right now, Solov continues to lead. He's looking for his 10th win of the season. He went through a fantastic run from Jerez onwards, where he scored 8 consecutive wins. An astonishing run of form. But he's so far ahead in the standings now, he really does not necessarily need to worry about that. He's pulled away from Barter. Now Barter has to worry from behind because Kucharczyk is right there. And drawing in. It's not anywhere near close enough yet, but Kucharczyk doesn't need to press yet. He just needs to get on the tail of Barter if he wants to take this second position. Barter, meanwhile, also has the fastest lap of this race, so he will get a bonus point for that. But is Kucharczyk going to go down the inside of Barter in turn 1? He's not. Still not quite close enough. The gap between the pair, 0.3 of a second. With Jenik a second behind them. He's fending off Sternshore and Espirito Santo and Rinicella. That's a battle for 4th, 5th, 6th and 7th place. Solov, meanwhile, sprinting away. He's just set his fastest first sector of the race. And he come through this chicane. Kucharczyk keeping a very, very close watch on his Australian rival just ahead. Campos Racing versus MP Motorsport. Barter in the white and black Campos machine. Kucharczyk, MP Motorsport with the black entries. They come towards the far end of the circuit. Past the wall in Aragon. Kucharczyk's not quite close enough. I think we're about to see a fastest lap run here from Solov. The gap between second and third, it is 0.4 of a second again. Marta's just pulled up just enough to keep Kucharczyk just behind. Oh, but he's going down the inside. He's doing a similar move to Robert De Haan and Kira Small, and he's done it. Fantastic. That came absolutely out of nowhere, but they've made it work. They've not had a collision, unlike Small and De Haan. And Kucharczyk, from what seemed like a million miles away, went down the inside, but Barter tries to retake the position. Goes down the inside, and he does have it. Barter goes right back inside for second place, but goes off the circuit. Now Kucharczyk get a run. Can he get in the exit of turn 1? He can't. But Kucharczyk goes to the inside of turn 2. Doesn't make a move there. That was a fantastic bit of racing from the second and third place runners. Barter has retaken second place for now. That was a fantastic move or attempt by Kucharczyk, and Barter, fair play to him, had enough wherewithal to draw out of the way slightly so as to avoid a crash and allow them to fight another day. Solov, meanwhile, is sprinting away from this. He has just set the fastest lap at 2 minutes 1.6. And it's allowed him a 2-second gap over the next pair. But Kucharczyk, the gap is 0.4 of a second again. They're coming up to the hairpin in a few, or the chicane in a few moments' time, which will bring him back onto the start finish, or the back straight. This is the chicane. And as I mentioned before, Barter does have a habit of going through his rear tyres somewhat in these races. And I wonder, is Kucharczyk noticing that and sensing the opportunity to go past? Will he dive bomb around this time? I think he may be just a little bit too far behind, although I did say that last time. He's definitely too far behind this time. Oh, is he? Inside again! And he's coming from so far back. It's a lot more assured this time, and again, Barter leaves Kucharczyk enough room to avoid a crash, and I think Kucharczyk may have enough this time round, as a checkered flag is out, and Nicholas Solov wins from Kucharczyk. Barter in third place, just 1/10 of a second behind the second place man. Jenik is fourth, Sternshorn fifth, fantastic jump by him. Rinicello keeps sixth place, Espirito Santo, and the final points game scoring position of Zulliman and Fari, he is in eighth. Well, that was a fantastic last dash move from Kucharczyk, and I must be brutally honest, I was so absorbed in that fight for second place, I didn't realise that was the last lap. But Nicholas Solov did. He's won the race. In the end, the gap was actually 3.2 seconds. And Barter will settle for third place. This was just astonishing, and it is so far back. And actually quite similar to Robert Hahn. Kucharczyk actually mounts the curb, but ever so slightly. He doesn't mount it so much that he's robbed completely of control. I think that was probably even somewhat less. That was somewhat less of an anticipated move than the first time round. Solov, not just the race win, also the fastest lap. And an entertaining race here at Motorland Aragon. Nikola Solov in the blue Campos Racing entry. The winner today. Extends his championship lead. Given how far ahead he is in the point standings, it'll be of some little comfort for him. Solov pulls into Parc Fermé, takes the centre board, and it's not just the race win, of course, he is the highest placed rookie. Barter gets out of his machine, having pulled up to third place. Kucharczyk there in second place. It was Kucharczyk's first podium since the final race at Valencia in July. As Solov gets out of his Campos machine. A celebration, I do believe we've seen it at the Tour de France many times. And clasp of hands there between Barter and Kucharczyk. Respect, but I think it may be a tiny bit of shock. The driver is now going to get weighed. With a helmet and hands device. And so Solov led from the start, with Small challenging Barter initially for second place. Barter attempted to move down solidly inside of Solov on lap one, didn't quite come off, and that was probably the closest really Barter got to Solov in this race. Barter had to hold Small at bay for a few laps. But then Small came under pressure from this man Robert de Haan, but Robert de Haan made a move down the inside of the hairpin, didn't quite get it right. Wheels on the grass, on the curb, and then into the side of Kirill Small, and it took them both out of the race. Don't be surprised if we have a penalty for that for race 3 later on. That brought Kucharczyk up to third place, he having started 6th. And he pressed the Australian hard in those final couple of laps after the safety car. He had one dive down the inside that didn't quite work. And he had another dive down the inside that did. But before that one, Barter fought back, retook second position. And it looked as if that might be that until this. Kucharczyk, another deep dive, pushes Barter out just enough to maintain second position, and only a couple of corners to the flag. That was the result, done and dusted, and the gap between second place over the line, 0.133 of a second.
con el ganador de esta carrera, saludando precisamente a Hugh Barter. Nicola, congratulations. Impressive close door at the start and good restart after the safety car. What do you think?
Yeah, thank you. I think the start was way better than yesterday. I tried to improve. It worked, but I still have some things to work on. The restart was not too bad. It could have been better, to be honest. But I warmed up my tires really good before it, so I could manage to pull a big gap already on the first lap after the restart, and from then on was good.
And what do you expect for the last race of the weekend?
We have to see. I'm starting second, so it's going to be a bit more difficult, but I'm still going to go with the same approach and try to win again.
Good luck. Thank you.
Thank you.
Solov, if my sums are right, can still actually win the championship this weekend. But with Barter starting on pole and him in second place, it may take a little bit of doing. But the results for now, race 2. Nikola Solov wins from Timothy Kaczarczyk. Hugh Barter in third place, with Filip Jenik taking a quite incredible fourth position. Sternshorn recorded fifth in his second Spanish Formula 4 race, ahead of Rinicella, sixth, Espirito Santo, seventh, and the final point scoring position. That is Zullemans and Fari, Christian Ho, and Daniel Nogales rounded out the top 10. Backwards from there, George Kelstrup came home 11th ahead of Riccardo Escotto, Bruno Delpino in 13th place ahead of Gail Julian. Interpruvasak came home 15th from Arkan Chalski. Gravlund was 17th, Jeff Michaels 18th, Vladislav Ryabov 19th, and Theo Jensen came home 20th. 21st place was Max Meyer. 22nd, Mavyatov got a race finish today. Congratulations to him. Theo Nail came home 23rd. Noah Lyle 24th after he had a pit stop. Alvaro Garcia is classified, but he stopped in the pit lane. No finishes for Kirill Smal, Robert Hahn or Miran Pingasov. Far fewer incidents than we had in yesterday's race. Rookies, by the way, Solov and Kaczarczyk 1 and 2 in the rookie standings, and Nogales was third. But the rookie championship, much like the main championship, Solov is significantly far ahead of Kaczarczyk. And we see a very warm morning here in Motorland. Actually just gone into the afternoon, just gone midday. The temperature will pick up a little bit more as we get into the times for race 3. But in theory, by the time race 3 comes along later on this afternoon, we shall begin to see the other side as temperatures begin to drop before the evening. What I can tell you is that after that win, Nikola Solov's gap to Hugh Barter is 118 points. Solov on 273 with Barter at 155. There's 170 points remaining, and in theory Solov can win the championship if he wins, gets the fastest lap, and the likes of Barter, Kaczarczyk don't score. I'll work that out exactly later on, but it would take quite an unfortunate scenario for Barter and Kaczarczyk for Solov to win the championship later on today. Kaczarczyk third in the points with 142, the top 3 in the race, also the top 3 in the championship. And we will, it's the Campos Racing team member who will pick up the team's trophy today. We're officially 2/3 of the way through this championship. 21 races in the season, 14 are in the bag, 7 to go. After today's race, we have 2 final rounds. First at Navarra next month, in approximately actually just bang on a month's time, and then in the Circuit de Catalunya in Barcelona. That is the middle of November. as the race winner, Nikola Solov, gets his race-winning trophy. Solov, I think, should get the rookie trophy now as well. No, he doesn't. He gets the team member gets his trophy. Now here comes the rookie trophy. Not for the first time, Solov, both arms full of trophies this season. As the hats come off and the national anthems roll off. Lots of applause for the top three, and we shall see some bubbly sprayed at the moment, which I found out yesterday is something called a champagne, with non-alcoholic champagne, but just enough fizz to make it exciting on the podium. But first, pictures, and then after the pictures, a lake. It has been quite an interesting race too today, and a lot of incident. Solov, though, to be fair, looked as if he had that wrapped up right from the beginning, and apart from a slight moment with Barter on the opening lap, he was assured of victory. It has been a wonderful race to bring you today, and we will be back for race 3 later on today, with Hugh Barter starting on pole position. Do join us once again for some Spanish Formula 4 action.
Hoy toca contar las carreras desde una perspectiva diferente, desde la mejor perspectiva de hecho. Nos hemos venido al box 28 de Motorland Aragón para, antes de conocer si Fernando Navarrete será campeón aquí o bien tendremos emoción hasta la próxima cita de Navarra, poder probar qué se siente al volante de uno de los pequeños saxitos de la Copa. Dicen que es la mejor Copa de iniciación para turismos en España. Vamos a intentar averiguar por qué. ¿Nos acompañáis?